I've been burning the candle at both ends. Haven't been getting good sleep. So I kind of feel a little shitty today. But I'm gonna go to the fucking fair and film some shit and try and cheer myself up by eating really fucked up standard American diet shit. We'll see what we can see. I might talk a little bit about, how fasting allows you to do these things, and a little bit about how minimalism allows you to do these things on a Monday, when normally I would be in a truck probably in fucking Canada right now. So I should be thankful for that, I guess. But I don't know, I think I'm a little burnt out and I need to fucking... Of course, I'm still work. I'm gonna, be taking pictures and video for you guys and sharing the day. But I'm gonna be a little more relaxed, and this is a casual fucking vlog and shit, because I don't do enough vloggy shit, I think. I think I need to work in more vlogs so you guys get the complete picture of the asshole that you guys take advice from. So that'll allow you to make more, of a judgment call on whether or not what I have to say is of any fucking value or something. But, I know I helped a lot of you out as far as the coaching goes, but still, you should know all of me. And in order to do that, I have to vlog every once in a while. So if you don't like vlog style shit, just don't watch the ones. I'll start labeling the vlogs as vlogs, and this is a vlog, or it'll probably go into a playlist, The Adventures of Scott the Truck Driver. So that'll be where I store all my vlog shit from now on. So how am I gonna get there? I'm gonna ride this fucking thing. This is a used bike I traded my VR for. It's a pretty good bike, but it's really old too. So I'm gonna ride this shit to the fair and hopefully put myself in a nice little glycogen depleted state, so that when I fill my fucking fat ass up with some really greasy vegetable oil animal processed products today, that I'll be able to break even, so to speak, by the end of my 36-hour fucking eating window, which began about an hour ago. Oh fuck, I am so fucking out of shape. I couldn't even make it up this fucking hill. Oh man, I need to fucking train more on this thing. Son of a bitch, I'm gonna be a sweaty piece of shit by the time I get to the fair. Hashtag motherfucking old ass bike. Hopefully I still make it to the fair, cause that just sucks. Story of my life. Well, as you can see, I made it. Hopefully the bike makes it back. The New York State Fair. Consumerism at its worst. I mean, just the amount of corporate shit and people trying to sell you shit is unequaled in any other event that I can fucking think of in the state. Basically, people are handing out crap that we don't need and giving people shit that we don't need, in all an attempt to sell and market. There's a lot of marketing that goes on. The very first building I go into here is a fucking place where they sell shit, and not just like shit that you think you would need, but like that shit you see on TV at 3 in the morning during the commercials, if anybody still watches that shit. And they sprinkle it in with some interesting things that may catch your eye, like the motherfucking sand sculpture. Oh yeah, every year they sculpt some shit in the sand, and I tend to find that the faces on these are usually a little bit creepy. Like, I can't fucking, it looks almost horrifying, some of the expressions on their face. Like, I don't know, there's a name for it, I forget what it's called, but it's when a human likeness doesn't quite look human enough, and it kind of fucks with your brain a little. But this is basically this year's fucking sand sculpture. It's pretty much, in my opinion, unless you're a consumer, which I'm not, you know, the only reason to go in here. I mean, look at this fucker. And that is just creepy. Like, how'd you like to wake up in the middle of the night and see that motherfucker staring at you? Oh, yeah. The stuff of nightmares. So, you know, I tend not to be happy with the amount of crowds at shit like this, too. And it's really hard to get good pictures of anything. That's why I didn't do photography this day. It's just too many people. But it was law enforcement day at the fair. So, a lot of law enforcement themed shit. Including this sand sculpture, which I don't think they resculpted. I think that they're generally were paying tribute because we've had a lot of troopers die around here lately. So, but as you can see, people everywhere selling shit, people looking at shit, people actually buying shit, like a showerhead salesman. I mean, I don't think we really need this, but I mean, really? It sprays water. And a broom salesman? Last I checked, you go to Walmart and buy one of these for like $2 or $3. But apparently this is a special broom made from natural shit, coconut gardens and shit. So apparently we have vegan brooms now. Well, I often go to this building because it has a photography display, which I couldn't film because it has signs everywhere that says you can't fucking film. But on the way in, I checked out this guy. And as you can see, he had quite the turnout to watch him play this. But it's all good. I like the unique, weird shit, you know, at the fair. You know, stuff that just kind of jumps out at you. Now, this next part is a section in that building where they have, like, these little model carnivals and train sets and all of that. And I'm always intrigued because it's kind of artistic in that somebody took the time to, acquire all these miniatures. I don't think they made them. Probably paint them. And to set up these elaborate displays that, you know, kind of show them off. Now, some of them look kind of toyish, but some of them I thought were pretty creative. And they're all kind of give you, like, that old world fucking, you know, 1930s, 40s feel sprinkled in with some modern day shit, too, obviously. But that's just how it goes. But I always kind of like walking through here. Granted, it hasn't changed much over the years. In fact, I don't even know that they tear this down. Like, literally, it seems like all the shit's in the same fucking spot when you go in here. So, but it's still, it's kind of interesting to see the amount of detail and stuff that they put into these models. And I like artistic shit like that, you know, stuff that where people express themselves. They're not trying to sell anything. They're just showing you their work. And I like that. It's probably worth the price of admission of the fair, which is only like $10. On some days you get in for $1. Some days, depending on who you are, you get in free. But for me, going to the fair is about seeing the interesting, not everyday things. And the same thing with the food, obviously. The main driver of going to the fair is I like the junk food. We'll get into that. But next thing, we came to these fucking birds of prey. Now, look at this motherfucker here. He's all puffing up. He's like, don't fuck with me. I'll take you out. It's, you know, he looks so mean. Look at that. He's ready. He's ready to take out some motherfuckers. He's like, why y'all gotta stare at me? I'm just sitting here. Leave me the fuck alone. You want some? You want a piece of me? Eh? You want some of this? How about you? Yeah, you. And then you got some weird looking birds, which I didn't film too much of. And yeah, I'm fascinated with owls. I like owls and shit. So I always stop by the birds of prey. They have little demonstrations. I didn't catch one this day at the fair where they, you know, throw shit and fly them around and land on their hand and, you know, make them do tricks. You know, I kind of feel sorry for these motherfuckers. You know, it's not probably fun to be a bird in this. I mean, granted, they probably got all their needs met. They're getting their food brought to them and, you know, whatnot. But I thought birds probably of prey like to be out hunting and killing shit, not sitting on their ass in a tent while, you know, people stare at them. But that's just my take on it. Overall, I enjoy stopping to look at them. And granted, I understand that if it wasn't for motherfuckers like me stopping to look at them, they wouldn't be in this tent. Now, America. Fuck yeah. Alright. Why do eagles always look pissed off? I don't understand. I mean, they always got that look like they're gonna just fucking gut you. And I wonder if why that's like our national bird. Is because it's like, you know, we're gonna fuck you up or something. I have no idea what kind of, I think this is like a hawk or something. You know, I'm not a wildlife expert. I'm just a fucking asshole with a camera at the fair looking at birds. But I don't know. It amazes me that these birds, you know, kind of let all this happen, that they don't occasionally just fuck somebody up, like land on someone's face and start clawing and biting and shit. You know, I mean, if I was a bird, I'd probably do something like that if I was tethered to a fucking thing instead of being allowed to fly free and hunt shit. So, but I don't know. Apparently they train birds and shit so that they just kind of sit there and look mean and wait for you to give them food. So. Then I walked by, they were doing a memorial service for the New York State troopers that have fallen, and probably for all other police officers that have fallen. I didn't hang out too long for it, but, you know, it's always, you know, nice to pay your respects and kind of acknowledge that there are people out there who try to do good, who try to protect and serve, and sometimes lose their lives. It's not to get political or anything, but there's also people that take advantage of the badge, I feel, and you know, probably shouldn't be allowed to wear it. But for the most part, I realize they made a sacrifice for us. So about this fucking time, I got pretty hungry, and but I just wanted to whet my appetite, so I got chicken speedies, which are kind of hard to find decent in Syracuse, so I always go to the fair to get some of these. Just had a conversation about eating deer meat while I was eating chicken speedies, so it's kind of got into this whole thing on how I don't like venison, mainly because I've seen them splattered all over the fucking highway over the years. So that was interesting, just a random sitting down, and because there's no tables where you could just sit yourself, you just gotta mingle and shit. Ah, the motherfucking Midway, where money goes to fucking die. I, of course, immediately spotted this fucking thing and decided that it is in my best interest to ride this across the fair. This ride's my speed. I'm not a big ride guy, but I saw this and I was like, I gotta do it. Mainly because it lets me get some shots. Yeah, I don't do roller coasters much. Tend to give me a fucking headache. But I understand that people like throwing money at these kinds of things for fun. You know, and we all have our things that others, you know, some people might consider a waste and other people consider fun. This is just not my thing, you know. Get that right there, the whole spinning fucking thing, especially after watching that recent tragedy in Ohio. Not something I'm interested in doing, and I know that eventually I might ride some rides. You know, I do have a Disney trip in the future that might involve some ride action. But today at a small fair like this, not so much, you know, especially since a lot of the rides are a little bit on the shady side in my book. You know, I'm not quite safe enough for comfort. And of course, they keep the worst of the worst junk food on the Midway. Not sure why, you know, they can't just sprinkle in
some really good stuff, but it's, hot dogs, hamburgers, fucking ice cream and shit, all interspersed with things that suck all the money out of your wallet, and into the fair, which, if you have fun doing that, I just find that in my 40s, eating deep fried Oreos and fucking Twinkies just doesn't do it for me, especially now that I know what I know about health. But a lot of the rides are like spinny rides. I'm not a big fan of spinny rides. They have opened up the midway quite a bit at the fair over the years, so it's kind of more laid out. There's more places to rest. Of course, if it's a really super crowded day, which this wasn't. This was a Monday. It's, this is light crowd for the fair. And I've never been a fan of the games. Every once in a while I'd throw some money in just to try and have fun.
Thinking about how long I have to work now to make shit happen. Every dollar I spend seems to be a judgment call on whether or not I'm gonna get a return on my time investment. But hey, you gotta have fun, People are having fun. I guess there's value in that.
So I guess overall you just have to weigh, is the fun you have worth the money, the time it took to make the money that you spend? If you really look at money from a minimalist perspective, from a time versus what you get for it perspective, it really can change your outlook on what's fun and what isn't. I never made it to the bacon thing, though. God damn it. So, if you enjoy this thing and it's worth it to you for however many hours it takes to make like $150 to $200, which is what you could easily blow through on the fair. I myself only spent $50 this day, and it was virtually all on food. And of course the $5 ride on this fucking Skyway lift chair shit that they put in. But if flipping around is worth it to you, I really need to get... I do plan another trip to the fair because there were food items that I just didn't have the room to eat because it was feast day after a fast. But I did get this fucking lobster roll. And this goddamn lobster roll was motherfucking $14. And it was like 4 inches, not 6 inches. It was like a 4-inch. Some 4 inches just isn't enough. You need fucking 6 inches at least filled with lobster meat. But $14 for that, $8 for these two little ass motherfucking crab cakes, and it all tasted delicious. Don't get me wrong. I loved it, but for $23, I was sorely disappointed with the amount of food. That was a big chunk of money, and given my new outlook on money versus time, is an hour of my time, which is about what $20 is, worth it for the taste, yes, but for sustainability and filling yourself, probably not the best choice. Of course, unhealthy with the bread on the lobster roll, and also unhealthy with the fucking vegetable oil that the motherfucking crab cakes are cooked in. But they tasted great. They did make me happy while I, the small brief a moment of time where I ate it. So there's that. And of course, what meal would be complete without motherfucking cheesecake? I just couldn't resist. I saw it when I was ordering the other shit. Thankfully, it was a lot cheaper, $5, because, sugar's cheap and shit. But it was pretty fucking good. So I didn't go keto or anything. I knew I was going to eat unhealthy by coming to the fair, and I planned for it, and I fasted around it. I fasted before, and I will do a fucking fast after. 36-hour fast at least. And that's the beauty of ADF, is you can do this in moderation. And I was a lot more moderate than the binge I did. But, it's cheesecake and shit. And it was pretty good. It wasn't super sweet. A lot of them overload it with sugar. It's just not necessary. If you lightly sweeten cheesecake, I'd say it's pretty fucking good. But they're always looking for that sweet spot that makes your, your heroin part of your brain go off, and you just got to have more and more and more. Of course, that was at Daniela's Steakhouse. So if you're ever at the New York State Fair, this is probably my favorite place. Most expensive place, but my favorite place in the fair. And I think they have a restaurant. I've never been to the restaurant, though. I've always just eaten it at the fair. Now, these fuckers with their goddamn tongues. I had to stop and look because the tongues are fucking disturbing. It's like some alien shit coming out and going, snatching shit. And they're using it to let you know that, hey, bring some shit here, And these fuckers are huge. So, and here he comes. I'll put that tongue out. I find that offensive. But they just like, let it, give me some shit. No, not so much. So, that was disturbing to me, the way their tongues are. But, I like looking at fucking animals and, wildlife and shit. I go to zoos a lot. And I also like eating animals, too. So, it's, being keto. Then there was this guy. Fucking one-man band. Playing drums. And playing guitar. Let's just give it a listen.
Try that again.
Of course, he fucked up to start with, but, what can you do?
Colors on the street, red, white, and blue. People shuffling their feet, people sleeping in the shoes.
Gotta appreciate the amount of coordination it must take. Of course, a lot of drinking goes on at the fair, so you can see the effect that can have. Now, I used to go to the fair, and I used to like to see the seals. But this year, in the spot where the seals usually are, there was these lazy-ass sharks. They're just kind of laying there. And I was sorely disappointed with that. But then you come to here. This is kind of new to the fair, is pirates, or Colombian pirates of the motherfucking Caribbean. I don't think the word motherfucking's in the title. But I was definitely amused by the jumping and shit that was going on here, and then the acrobatics, and it must take a lot of practice to not break your neck doing some of the shit that they're doing. But I'll just share some of this with you here. I think Disney might have a lawsuit on their hands if they chose to pursue it. They used a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean music, so I gotta kind of talk a little more so I don't get a fucking copyright flag. But I was impressed. It looked like he fucking hit his head right there. Did you see that? I mean, scroll back and replay that part, because I'm pretty sure he smashed his face into the goddamn thing and laid there for a minute. I might be wrong. And then he gets up like a beast and just keeps going. It's pretty intense. I don't see any blood though, so he couldn't have smacked his face too hard. It did look like it sucked though. But this is reminiscent of my trip to the Sterling Renaissance Festival, which I shot some footage of that I may narrate for a future video. If you guys give a shit, let me know. Now this, I don't know that I could do that. I'd be too afraid of heights. That takes some balls right there, because look how high this motherfucker is. And he's like balancing and shit. And I don't see, there's like no safety. You know, I didn't see any safety net underneath. And like, what happens if you fucking... what happens if you just trip? You know, sometimes every once in a while you just fucking trip over nothing and fall. But I guess it's a way to make a living. I don't know that that's for me, but I could picture that going horribly wrong. So of course I filmed the entire thing just in case. Because, you know, that's the morbid society we are. You know, they did some other balancing shit I wasn't as impressed with, you know, but it's a feat. They are high up. I do believe they have a safety net underneath, not entirely sure. But it was definitely entertaining. So if you go to the fair, you should check out this you know, attraction. It probably was one of the more entertaining ones. So then I head to the fucking Indian village, which I always stop at, because it's kind of a nice peaceful break area. And I kind of, you know, I'm interested in cultural things, you know, and they always have this little dance routine. But combined with the nice shaded area and the, you know, the long houses and the culture all around, this is kind of a nice little get away from the hustle and bustle consumerist fair. Although they did try and sell a lot of shit here too, but at least it's going to further their culture. This was kind of the star of the show, I think. Hey, it's a fucking mouse. Yeah, there's supposedly some significance to each of the shapes he comes up with. You know, animal shapes and shit. This is supposed to be riding a horse. Not sure what that is. But in my travels, I like to see stuff like that.
ate too much. And I gotta ride back home still. Which sucks. On a broken fucking pedal too. Right now I'm just resting. This overly comfortable chairs conveniently fucking placed here for people like me.
Ah, the mystical, unique unicorn ram. With a motherfucking flag coming out of his forehead and shit. We found it at the Hall of Veterinary Health. This is why vegans hate my channel. I don't think he's gonna make it. He looks a little ill. Yep, pretty sure he's gonna fucking die on the table. So then we got the ketogenic religious monument of happiness. This is the butter sculpture. And of course, keeping in with the creepiness factor of many of these sculptured faces, and maybe it's just me, tell me in the comments if I'm way off, but I find all of the faces and the various things a little bit creepy, like, you know, and just the scene is a little creepy, like, what are they going to do with that fucking lamb or goat or whatever the fuck that is? You know, they look really happy to be holding that. I don't know. I'm, you know, maybe my mind's just going to dark, twisted places. And plus, one of them looks a little too happy. The other one looks a little too psychotic. And you got this person here helping this kid with the milk. You know, I don't know how that fits in. But of course, then you have the dairy cow birthing center sign, which that's a display that wasn't going when I was there. Where you can witness a live cow birth. So then you go in the poultry building, and of course, the first thing you see is rabbits with eyeliner and shit, because they apparently like to do cosmetics for this contest. Now this motherfucker, this is what happens when you eat processed foods and don't fast. Looks kind of like one of them fucking tribbles from the old 1960s Star Trek. But somewhere in there is a fucking rabbit in this big ball of huge fur. It's like, how do you eat when you have that much fur? I mean, he's all like in there and shit. It's like, fuck you guys, I'll just grow fur so you can't look at me. Motherfuckers. But yeah, they're definitely, I feel they're overfeeding these animals, and they're feeding them shit, kibble with, you know, the same carbs and shit that we have to eat, you know. So maybe they need to get on a more rabbit-friendly Whole Foods diet instead of processed shit. You know, aren't rabbits supposed to eat greens and vegetarian shit instead of whatever the fuck that is? I mean, it doesn't look like nothing rabbits should be eating. Rabbits eat fucking plants and shit, don't they? I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that didn't look like no plants. Of course, every once in a while, you have to just dye some chickens, or chicks, or whatever the fuck those are. And then, of course, whenever someone has their cock out, you just gotta take a look, you know? You can't walk by a cock and not at least glance, even if you're heterosexual. And of course, pigeons. I don't know why there's a pigeon contest. I always found those were, you know, kind of the throwaway birds of the bird family. They're like rats with wings. But, all kinds of chicken. So naturally, after this, I had to go get chicken riggies because, you know, that's the kind of asshole I am. You know, first you look at them alive and then you go eat them. That's my thing. I like chicken. I like beef. I like meat. So, but that doesn't mean I'm incapable of appreciating the animals that we do consume. And I felt I did that, so I ate some chicken riggies. This was the final thing I did. I immediately decided to fast after that, and pretty much have fasted almost 42 hours and broke that this morning. This is the following my fast. It's been about 40 hours since I left the fair, and So, this video it wasn't all I hoped it would be, but I'm hoping that it's a good format for future videos. I kind of like narrating and talking things, so these will get better over time. This was an experimental, because I've been trying to figure out how I want to do my vlog style videos and my adventure shit. So, of course, adventures cost money and shit. So I'm rather limited on the things I can travel to see, and I do want to travel to do this kind of shit. I want to go to out-of-the-way places and explore and provide my take as a minimalist and an intermittent fasting guru on how to enjoy these things without letting it destroy our bodies and our lifestyles, and kind of give you an idea of things you can do that maybe aren't as expensive. Now, it's really hard to go to the fair and not spend money, because it is a constant assault of money. Everywhere you go at the fair, somebody wants you to buy or spend money. That's what the fair is all about. And in the way I've become, it's not the most appealing fucking way to spend my time and money. And like I said, I mainly went because of the food and the interesting little things that you can see for free usually around the fair, and people watching to a degree is amusing too. And drinking, if you're into drinking, that's not a bad place. There is a full bar, beer all over the place. I don't drink beer, and of course wine and all of that. And there's bands that play in Chevy Court. But overall, with the huge crowds, I get really annoyed quickly. So I don't look forward to the fair like maybe I did when I was a kid, or before I've changed my paradigm on how I live my life. But overall, if you like any of the shit you saw, it's a good place to go for that. And they're setting records this year with attendance. Just mainly, I think the concerts that they do for free in Chevy Court have a lot to do with it. But I'll probably go back to the fair one more time before it's over with. So it's done next Monday. On Labor Day is the last day, I believe. So I'll probably stop by the fair one more time. And maybe I'll shoot, maybe I won't. Depends on if you guys like this fucking video or not. If you like this, maybe I'll take the camera with me next time. I'm going to do some still photo work for stock. But overall, it was an okay day. And the day was made possible by more than one lifestyle choice. First of all, quitting trucking full-time allowed me to be there on a Monday when there's a little bit less people, and it's really kind of was a nice, relaxing way to spend the day. Well, relaxing by riding a bike and doing 10,000 steps and then riding a bike back. So I probably burnt most of what I ate off, as evidenced by my weigh-in this morning, which was 190.5 pounds with a 36.25-inch waist. So even though I ate that cheesecake and the unhealthy shit, I did it in moderation. Some would say that's a lot of food, but the portion sizes were pretty low for the money. And if you keep that in mind and you eat the junk in moderation on your feast days and you're doing alternate day fasting, you can easily fulfill your goals while enjoying some of the bad foods, which is a goal for me. I want to have happy times. The other thing that makes, videos like this possible and travel is your guys' contribution on Patreon. If you go to the links in the description, patreon.com, ScottTheTruckDriver, and even if you just give $1 a month, that helps immensely. And for that $1 a month, you get a daily blog. I write out, in the morning when I get up. One of the first things I do now is try to post a daily post for contributors that kind of gives them my current weight, my goals for the day, things I'm doing for the channel, thoughts, random thoughts and theories that go along with the theme of whatever the blog is for the day. Like I think I did today, Uber and minimalism, because I had some stuff, and there'll be a video coming up on some of that topic for the channel here. But these are all made possible by the contributions on Patreon and you guys subscribing and liking and watching YouTube videos. Between those two income streams, it allows me to take at least 1 or 2 days to produce content. And the other reason that's possible is because I have minimalized my expenses. There may be some changes in the near future which will up my expenses a little bit, but it's all working towards a goal. But we'll get into that when we get there. For now, if you want to contribute and get there, at $5 you get the weekly audio podcast. Every Friday I try and record that, Saturday at the latest, but I've been getting to them on Fridays usually. And, you know, as it grows, I will add more to the upper tiers. Right now the upper tiers tend to get, you know, more exclusive interactions with me. Video tutorials are going to be coming down the line. Royalty-free digital art as I release that. That's released after the billing cycle, usually, you know, because I don't want people like coming in and I spend all this time, effort, and money to come up with rewards. And then, lo and behold, they cancel before the month's up. So you have to be there the whole month before I roll out the rewards. So that's basically how that works. And to cite and credit the patrons that have made this video and many other videos possible, along with some of the research time that it takes and all of the effort it takes, I'd like to thank Dave and MSP, who is a producer. I also want to thank, I also want to thank Robertino Jesse Lopez, who is also a producer, and the sponsor of the channel, Matt Denman, who is gone above and beyond to give financial support to the channel and allow me to take the time to make more content, to answer more questions in the comments, to interact with you guys more, to do live broadcasts. The more we get spun up here, the more I can do this, with the ultimate goal being daily videos, vlogs, content on a day-to-day basis, so that I don't have to go drive the Uber or, you know, take photography client work. I could focus solely on this channel as we get to that, closer to that $2,000 a month goal. And, you know, as it rises, so will the time that I can dedicate to the channel. Because if I can survive off of the income from YouTube, I can dedicate my full time and resources to it. I'll still have the other income streams on the back burner and will do things and squeeze them in, but then YouTube would become the time priority, and those would have to take a back seat, you know, to doing at least 40 hours a week on YouTube, and no more than that. Because I don't want to, the reason I left trucking is I got tired of 70 hours, and I've been doing really good trying to take the weekends off, even though I still film some on the weekends, which I will do. You know, it's not a big deal for me to vlog. It's the editing part that's the time-consuming part when it comes to vlogging. So that's what we got there. So thank you to my producers and sponsors and all contributors, associate producers, executive producers, and, you know, anyone that is helping to grow this channel. I also want to thank those of you who have subscribed and watch and like and, you know, sit through the ads and do all of the things that are necessary to help grow this channel. And I wouldn't be here talking to you motherfuckers without that. So, and I'm very, very appreciative, you know. But more videos to come. I am filming another video after this one that will probably be up by Friday. It takes a while for these to get edited and uploaded, so keep that in mind. I don't always meet my deadlines because of how time consuming this process can be. But remember, I'm not a fucking expert. I'm just a fucking asshole. And I want to try and do some more travel videos and go out there and see some more, you know, things, and from my fucked up, warped life view perspective. You know, you can go out and have people go ooh all day at shit, but I'm gonna give you kind of my sometimes pessimistic outlook and sometimes funny and sometimes disturbing opinions wherever I go. And we'll see how that goes. If you guys like that or not. Have a nice motherfucking day and shit.